Good evening, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Welcome to another episode of Critique Corner with me, Daniel Parker.
And me, DB Fastbinder. And we're back after a week's hiatus. So, Daniel, how was Disney World?
Well, aside from the weather and the cold that I caught from it, it was great.
Daniel, I keep telling you, you're not supposed to lick the windows there.
I know. Just I can't help myself. It's just.
Yeah, it's a sickness and we'll get over it. Speaking of the
Mhm.
sickness, we're ready for a extra long episode after, I would say, a few weeks of pretty modest lengths.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, we've got some great lineup of new and old stuff as we usually do, and we have also got some solo things to talk about tonight. And first up for our reviews is Cosmic Princess Kaguya.
Yes, a Netflix original, which from looking it up, it was a first time director who had previously worked on aspects of Jujutsu Kaisen, specifically was it Jujutsu? That's such a stupidly hard word to say. It was either Jujutsu Kaisen or it was Chainsaw Man. One second.
I want to
Uh,
say
I-
I think it was Jujutsu Kaisen. Now that I
regardless,
think about it,
yeah,
yeah.
it's interesting how I everybody in theory needs some sort of first crack at it, um, but it's weird to jump from that to feature length movie.
Yeah, you usually get like a limited series, I would say, or something a little smaller.
It's possible that Wikipedia and other places I've looked it up didn't have uh, they just didn't mention like individual show episodes he'd worked on or the like. But yeah,
Uh,
directed by Shingo Yamashita, who believe does not actually have a wiki. Nope, he does not in fact have a Wikipedia page. So
oh, I'm sure he has an IMDb page. Let's see. Let's see. Cosmic Princess Kaguya. Which this it borrows heavily from, I guess there's a myth of the princess named Kaguya from Japan, which I was unfamiliar with until this movie.
I would say I was tangentially familiar with it. It's called specifically "The Tale of the Bamboo Cutter," which follows a a princess from the moon is reborn as a baby in a bamboo stalk, hence the name.
uh
And the woodcutter raises her up, and she grows quickly. And I believe in the end, when they made a point of this in the movie, that she goes back home.
okay, yes, yeah. So he worked on Chainsaw Man and Jujutsu Kaisen.
Okay, so both very frenetic, action-packed series, especially in their opening animations. And you know what? I'll say like the first positive of this film, which by the way, I forget if I mentioned, Netflix original, currently available.
Hmm.
Uh, this thing does have very good animation, just from both a visual design perspective and also just a fluidity of motion perspective.
Yeah, I mean it's very well done animation. Very very pretty to look at. Um, but the story is somewhat lacking.
I think that I feel like this was pitched as a season, and they were forced to make it into a movie.
Mm.
I feel like there's a lot of elements here that, if they had more time to breathe, would have come off better. Um,
Yeah.
so let's get into the story a bit. So you have Iroha Sakayori, a high school girl who has run away from home and is basically working herself to the bone, maintaining a Spartan lifestyle. So it's like the classic Japanese anime thing where Japanese anime sounds redundant, but it's a classic anime thing where I guess most Japanese high schoolers just live independently so they can have adventures.
I guess, yeah. Yeah, I had no idea how common that was.
Tisk tisk.
Yeah.
And one day she's outside on the way home from, I forget whether it was school or work, and she's dead on her feet, and suddenly a meteor streaks through the sky, lands in a telephone pole, and just like the old legend, a baby comes out of it.
Yes, and of course she's now stuck taking care of this baby, but then the baby grows and grows until it's a like teenage girl, and
Yes,
yeah,
and I would say the movie's strongest part is the relationship between Iroha and Kaguya, just because they bounce off each other very well. Um, Iroha is a classic sort of stuck-up serious type, where Kaguya is the classic Genki girl, overly enthusiastic, huge appetite,
uh,
um, very excitable, very random, kind of the Japanese version of the manic pixie dream girl.
yeah, yeah, definitely, and uh, yeah, and the other part of it too is Aroha goes into this virtual reality world. I can't remember what it was called.
Basically a full dive game. You just put on these contact lenses and suddenly you see what's going on in the game.
Yeah, yeah, and they had their own avatars, and the popular or the I guess the I don't know if it's like the I guess the game moderator or whatever is this AI called what was her uh Yauchi, yeah, Yacha,
Yachio.
Yachio, thank you. And so then Aroha or Kaguya, I guess, comes up with the idea for her to she becomes a streamer, and so because I have a cold.
Yachio.
Yachio, thank you. Yachio is having a contest where the winner of like I think it gets like the most followers or whatever gets to do a live performance with her.
Yep. And it is kind of funny how just comically easy it is for Kaguya to become a internet star. Gosh, I mean, who knew it was that simple? Just be actually no, she's using a avatar which funny thing, like Kaguya's avatar has bunny ears. This is a reference to how in Japan, how like in English we talk about the old man in the moon.
Yeah.
In Japan, they talk about the bunny in the moon.
Oh.
That's also why in Sailor Moon she was named Usagi, which means rabbit.
Ah, okay. Gotcha.
But yeah, and there's a lot we're leaving out, including some kind of rote friends.
Yeah.
And also they emphasize Aroha's relationship is strained with her mother. She ends up fighting her brother in basically it looks like 3D Fortnite.
Yeah.
In the game world. And inevitably, Kaguya is like the forces of the moon are trying to bring her back because she is a important person up there. What I thought was interesting was that it seems like the celestial kingdom or the lunar kingdom or whatever you want to call it in Japanese mythology, it's one of those things where I keep seeing references to it being like super stratified and there's no free will or things, because that was also a thing in Kubo and the Two Strings.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. It's an interesting mythology there with I guess everybody's got their own myths and legends about the moon, of course. Hello, Alex. Good to see you.
Hey, Alex.
Yeah, and but of course, as we all know, the moon is basically just a giant ball of gray dust.
Yes. To be fair, it has a rocky core too, so yeah, it's not entirely dust, but just mostly.
Yeah, that's yeah.
I think it is related to East Asian ideas of like kind of I think it's like derived from Chinese legends where the universe basically has a very imperial looking hierarchy and nature, but I'm not a versed enough person in East Asian myths to speak too intelligently about it. It's just a commonality I keep noticing.
Yeah.
Now, I would say that where this movie is best, besides its production value, is that it gets a lot of small details that are kind of fun, right? Um, like just things off the top of my head, the moon references in Kaguya being the rabbit girl, um, the relationship, like the moment-to-moment relationship between Aroha and Kaguya is very charming because it is the energetic one trying to drag her depressed friend out of depression.
Yeah.
And that's always a satisfying dynamic. You also have there's like a lot of tiny details in how the virtual world is created. So it's things like on the brothers team, you have what looks like a girl in a maid outfit, and then you realize partway through, oh, it's just somebody playing a. I don't know if it was playing a female avatar in a maid outfit or just playing a guy in a maid outfit, but partway through he started talking with a very gruff voice. It's like, oh wait, okay,
Yeah.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. uh, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, there's some definitely some positives to take away from the movie, you know, with all that. But yeah, like the rest of it is just kind of okay. So one of the thing I think you probably alluded to this earlier, that it was probably meant to be a TV show, but then they made it into a movie because the movie's 2.5 hours. It's long for an anime.
And then even a lot of things are just kind of brushed over. Like,
Yeah.
okay, so one of the key things is Iroha not getting along with her mother, which is why she separated herself. You don't really get like you would expect to have some more scenes of them clashing in some way,
Yeah.
but the mother doesn't appear outside of flashbacks until the end. Actually, this is very similar now that I think about it to the adoptive mother character in K-pop Demon Hunters, where it feels like she should be a bigger part of the plot and she isn't actually around very often.
Right. Yeah, yeah. There's some similarities there. Yeah.
And I think that K-pop Demon Hunters was also originally pitched as a series rather than a movie, if my half memory serves.
Yeah.
But I would say that K-pop Demon Hunters, the neglectful mother character, actually has more of a presence. So that's just very funny to me.
Yeah.
Now, Daniel, I should have asked you to do this ahead of time.
Yeah.
Can you take those 2 YouTube clips I used to sum up my feelings on the end of the movie and pull them up, or do you have to have them downloaded?
I can, yeah, I can pull them up. I have to open up and
I'll fill
Chrome.
some airtime while you do that.
Okay.
Because we kind of agree that this movie trips at the ending because they tried to go for a twist, and it's like a twist where it didn't feel like there was actually a mystery in the first place.
Yeah.
Because you find out what the origin of Yachio is.
Yes.
You also do get to see what the moon looks like, and the moon is like one of the examples in this movie of where they were just very creative visually, because the moon basically looks like regular animation, but it's like on like 90s sprite animation. So
Yeah.
we had there were two thoughts on this movie, but for first reaction to the end.
Yes, okay.
Pursue my line of inquiry any further, as I think this is getting too silly.
Quite agree, quite agree. Silly, silly, silly. Right, get on with it. Get on with it.
Okay. Reaction number one.
Yeah, reaction number one. Now, let me get reaction number two, which is probably more apropos, I think. We go full. Okay. No, I'm not in full screen. What the heck is going on here? All right, there we go. All right, here we go. And here we go.
What the hell is that?
Yeah, it's unfortunately it does not stick the landing. There is a funny bit where they fake an ending where it looks like there's a credit screen that came up, like a Netflix credit screen, and like I almost went to go click on it to like, because like no, there's a half-hour movie left. What's going on here? It's like, oh, you just simulated that, you jerks.
Yeah. Yeah, I did that too. I was kind of when I was watching it, and it looked like they were ending it, and I'm like, I paused. I'm like, wait a second. There's still like 30 minutes. Yeah, there's half an hour left. What are we doing here?
I would love to know their internal metrics of how many people stopped watching the movie at that point.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I told you the story, but I saw Ado in concert last year, and a coworker of mine happened to be there, though we didn't know about it. They had a bit where she took like 10 minutes off, and they claimed it was the last song, but then she came back for like a 30 more minutes of show. But the coworker took her at her word, even though they didn't bring the lights up.
Sort of like all the people who got up and walked out of the theater when the Eagles were carrying Frodo away from Mordor in Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King.
Oh yeah, because it felt like an ending.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I will say, if they had ended it where they had the fake out ending, it would have been rather unsatisfying.
Yeah.
But what they came up with to end it wasn't better. What I also say is that this has a like very familiar. It's a very familiar style of ending in these, or not ending. It's a very familiar flow to a lot of this Japanese media where it's built on wild, crazy person shows up in my ordinary life and they leave. And even though everything is calm now, I kind of miss them. So I try to get them back or make them weird again.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's right. Off the top of my head, I can think of Squid Girl. I can think of All of My Choices Are Bad, or whatever that one was, where the guy kept being presented with awful choices by God. And he had to choose A or B.
Oh.
All My Choices Lead to Doom. Maybe that's the title of it. It's a very light novel-y title. But it's like, it's one of those like patterns that once you notice it, it's like, okay, we're now in this ending. And we were in that ending, but not really. And also it's like, wait. I understand this is the not too distant future and they have super virtual reality technology, but we didn't have any indication that you could do what they did at the end.
Yeah.
that kind of just came out of nowhere.
Yeah. Although it did time jump, I think 10 years, didn't they?
So it looked like the characters were slightly older, but at the same time, when they went out onto the stage at the end, they looked basically unchanged. So it's,
yeah.
I have a hard time recommending this one. Like there's enough good here that I don't think it's a complete waste of life, but it's like it could have stuck the landing better, or Netflix is too permissive with these anime studios in terms of just letting the directors go wild, because it always seems like it's the ending where they like really fall apart and they're like too self-indulgent and a bit too long. Like if they had managed to get a coherent plot going in the time before the fake out ending, I think I would have come away with a happier feeling about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't like this movie at all, to be honest. I just thought it was aside from like the character interactions, which I liked, aside from that, there's not really a whole lot for me to enjoy of this movie.
Yeah, I'm not usually a fan of things where the VR has to be a big part of it, and I thought this was integrated better than normal, but it still just wasn't quite my cup of tea.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think that if you really like pseudo isekai that are about like gameplay worlds, actually the perfect if you liked the anime called Bofuri, which is about the girl who maxed out her defense skill and nothing else in an MMO, I think you would enjoy this. similar flavor of silly.
Yeah. Okay.
But there's a lot of people I know who even though they're weebs, I would not recommend it to them.
Yeah.
But different strokes for different folks. Speaking of things that I didn't really care for that you really enjoyed,
Yeah.
Landman season 2.
Yes. Yes. The second season of Landman, which I finally got around to watching. It Paramount Plus is one of those weekly drop shows, so I just waited until the whole season dropped before getting into it. So this is one of the many Taylor Sheridan shows that are keeping Paramount Plus alive. I'll give like a like a brief recap of season 1 before getting into season 2. So for those of you who are wondering, DB and I actually reviewed the first 3 episodes from season 1, which DB almost rage quit the show when Billy Bob cut off part of his finger.
Yeah, it was a rough go.
Yeah. But so this season, so season 1, after that, Billy Bob Thornton, of course, Billy Bob Thornton plays Tommy Norris, who is a landman for a multi-billion-dollar oil company called MTEX. And his son Cooper, who dropped out of college at Texas Tech to go work for the company. There was an accident, and the 3 guys that were on his oil rig crew all died. And one of the guys that died was had a wife and a baby. And long story short, Cooper ends up getting romantically involved with the woman, and it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna. He wants to take care of her and take care of the baby, and so he starts his own oil company and goes off and sets up all these different oil rigs for drilling. Then you also had so the company was owned and run by his name was Monty. I can't remember what his last name was. Monty Miller, who was played by John Hamm. So, spoiler if you didn't watch season 1, Monty has a heart attack and ends up dying from it. And as a result, his wife, Cammie, who is played by Demi Moore, she takes over ownership of the company, and Billy Bob, Tommy, becomes the president of the company. So basically, Cammie owns the company, and Tommy is running it. And the other thing too is Tommy has an ex-wife named Angela. And he and his ex-wife end up getting back together, even though they have a very strange, bizarre relationship. And then also they also have a daughter, very what's the good word for her? Very outgoing.
Liberated?
What was that?
I said liberated.
Liberated. Yes, that's a good. Yeah, liberated. Yes, a very liberated daughter, Ainsley. Who's gone to live with them in out there in Midland, and so at the end of the season, John Hamm's he has a heart attack and he ends up dying, and Tommy actually gets so at the beginning of the season, he has this whole really tense negotiation with the drug cartel. Then at the end of the season, that same cartel is looking to end him, but they get stopped by the head of the cartel, who is, and he's played by Andy Garcia, Jalino, and so okay, so that's everything that happened in season 1. So season 2, Tommy is basically trying to do 2 things at once. He's trying to be a landman out in West Texas while also trying to be a company president. And the company is based in Fort Worth. And so he's basically going back and forth from Midland to Fort Worth, which is about a 3-hour drive, depending on traffic. And so he's dealing with all that. And then his son Cooper actually ends up striking big with his oil company. But the problem is he formed the company and got all the funding for it and investments and everything, did it very haphazardly because he's a 22-year-old kid and he has no business sense whatsoever. And he unknowingly becomes a partner with Andy Garcia's character. And so now Andy Garcia is basically completely involved in this, with Tommy, with Billy Bob Thornton's character, his whole life basically. And so you've got that going on. And then the other part of it too is they find out that the company MTEX just doesn't have any money at all. They're basically just Monty was basically borrowing money from different people to try to pay different things off. And hey Arcos, good to see you. And he says, I tried so hard to like Landbane. This overhyped. Characters are characters. The whole thing is more poorly written. Yeah, I definitely get that criticism, Marcos. Yeah, here's the thing. Like, I think kind of a big problem with the show, and I'm kind of skid talking a little bit, is the story of the oil, of being with this oil business is really not all that interesting. So you have to create the drama around the characters. And so, yeah, it does become a soap opera. And it looks like Arcos agrees with you, DB. He doesn't like Taylor Sheridan very much.
Yeah, I just don't vibe with him. And I totally get why people would like it. It's just like I don't know. I tend to like to feel happy when I watch media, which is a feeling that Taylor Sheridan does not share.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you on that. And Erico says she's liberated from functioning brain cells. Yeah, Ainsley is she's the stereotypical dumb blonde cheerleader girl. And in this season, in season 2, she's actually going to start going to TCU, which is in Fort Worth, to be a cheerleader. And this whole scene in there where she's in with the admissions counselor. She's like, "You're using a lot of big words I don't know." That's intentional. She's like, "Well, I was studying abroad." Oh, in Europe? No, in Midland. What precipitated that? It didn't rain the entire time I was there.
I'm reminded of the bit from The Simpsons where Rodney Dangerfield was playing Mr. Burns' son, and he tries to get him into Yale, and said, "How we need a rather large donation to let him in. How large of a donation are we talking? We've always wanted an international airport."
Yeah, I'm not made of airports. Get out. Yeah, it was a lot like that. But yeah, and then there's more drama with the family. So Billy Bob's father, whose name is also Thomas, although he goes by TL, and he's played by Sam Elliott. And he's out in at the beginning of the season. He's living in this assisted living, which is basically it's a motel that they converted into an assisted living home, which is not a great place for him. And at the start of the season, we find out that Billy Bob Thornton, his Tommy, his mother passed away, and we get more backstory with his mom. And apparently, she was a really bad woman, treated him very badly, and which caused him to run away when he was 14. But yeah, so like basically most of the season is just wrapped around like all this drama with the characters, wrapped around stuff that's going on with the company. So like the big overarching thing with the company is they find out there's this they had this offshore rig out in the Gulf which they were drilling with getting natural gas from. But the problem was one of the hurricanes. I can't remember which one. It got damaged in one of the hurricanes, and so they think that they could probably get it back up and running to look for natural gas. But the problem is, there's only like a 10% chance that it'll work. But Demi Moore's like, no, I want to do it anyway, even though it would have been easier for them to just have like the insurance, to settle a lawsuit with the insurance company and all this other stuff. But none of that happens. But yeah, I mean, it's from a storytelling perspective. I mean, I will say, it's not as good as the first season, but it's decent enough that you're able to hold your interest with some stuff. Obviously the character drama is what's really driving the show, so it does have that soap opera feel to it.
Right. Which, if you vibe with the characters and you're interested in them, then that's going to definitely make it a better show for you.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. And I will say where I thought was really interesting is the dynamic. I would say the adversarial dynamic between Billy Bob Thornton and Andy Garcia. That there was kind of on the surface through most of the season. But I have a feeling, I don't know if the show got picked up for a third season or not. I'm guessing it did, because it is a very popular show. It'd be interesting to see how that plays out in the third season. But yeah, I mean, if you've stuck with the show like with the first season, you'll probably want to see what happens in season 2. You may like it, you might not. I don't know. But Arcos says he said the writing is very similar in Tulsa King, but that one is a comedy, so I can forgive it a bit. I only watch it because it's Stallone. Yeah, I think DB, you watched a little bit of that, didn't you?
Yeah, I watched the first season of it. My overall issue with it was a very I'm not going to call it unfair, but just like it's a preference thing. I kind of thought that it was Stallone once again, kind of refusing to play a villainous character or like a morally complex character.
Yeah.
So I didn't necessarily, because it turned out that like what he went to the pen for was just very, he was completely in the right for it.
Oh.
I haven't watched season 2 yet. I may at some point, just because I did like it well enough. And yeah, Stallone is definitely the highlight of that one.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, if you're like me and you either worked in the oil industry, you had family who worked in the oil industry. I mean, this show's pretty interesting from that standpoint. But I mean, if you don't know anything about it and you really don't care about it, I completely understand as to why you wouldn't find the show interesting at all.
Yeah, I said this when we did our first episode reaction back in the day, that I give some credit to Sheridan for highlighting parts of the country and businesses that don't usually get attention from Hollywood.
Yeah.
So it just being about a blue collar life is just kind of refreshing in its own right.
Yeah. 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 But yeah, I think I've said what I need to say about Lightman 2, but go check it out if you're interested.
Indeed. Speaking of, well, this isn't even a thing on Netflix. Well, I should say Landman isn't a thing on Netflix. Speaking of movies with people who wear hats, there are cowboys in this movie, so
yeah,
there's our tangential connection.
There we go. Yes, Night at the Museum. Yeah.
Yep. The Ben Stiller classic, and it really just. I said this when we watched Tropic Thunder, that as much as people even at the time hated on Ben Stiller, the man like owned the comedy box office for a while there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the 2000s were really his decade there. Yeah.
And this, I really was a second watching of, actually probably a third or fourth watching of it, but it's been many years.
Mm.
But this used to be like a favorite of the family.
Yeah, my first viewing of it actually.
I was really reminded just how much it's like Jumanji,
Yeah,
even down to having Robin Williams in it.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. Arcos, I agree. Yeah, we miss Robin Williams.
yeah. The thing about Robin Williams is that he kind of had a reputation for being a very foul-mouthed, rapid-fire comedian,
Mm.
but he was also very good at just pulling at the heartstrings a bit.
Oh yeah,
Dead Poet Society, even in this movie, which is a very silly movie for most of it, but it's still he was still able to bring the feelings when he needed to.
yeah, yeah.
I guess for a man who suffered from depression, being able to pull out a melancholic feel to his characters would have been very easy,
Yeah.
or at least familiar. So,
Yeah.
In case you're not familiar with this movie, overall premise is that Ben Stiller plays Larry Daly, a completely failed, anything he's tried really.
Mm.
And in order to not lose his apartment and be able to keep visiting the son who's living with his divorced wife, he ends up getting a night job at the Natural History Museum. And what he finds is that every night, because of this magic tablet that's in the Egyptology wing, everything in the museum comes to life.
Yes, and of course he's given a very old instruction manual from the other three guards who work at the museum, or these old guys. You got one's played by Dick Van Dyke. You got another one played by Mickey Rooney, and then the third one is he's played by Bill Cobb, who's he was in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, him I'm not as familiar with.
Yeah.
Oh, he was in Demolition Man. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was the old cop who was a friend of Stallone. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And he is the only one of them who appears to still be alive, considering he was starting something that came out in 2025.
I think Dick Van Dyke's still alive.
Oh my God, you're right. He's like 100, but
yeah, he just turned 100. Yeah.
I remember being really startled when I found out he was still alive.
Yeah.
So never mind. I just forgotten.
That's all right.
Logically, I assumed.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
Now, of course, this is one of those kids' movie concepts where you could go total grognard with it and start questioning things like, well, what if I had a Spider-Man action figure in my pocket when I walked into the museum? Would it come to life, or was it only historical things?
Mm. Yeah.
Why if there are this hostile group of, like, one of the exhibits is a miniature group of Amazonian tribespeople who are just extremely hostile, and so he has to lock them up every night. Well, if they're so hostile, when the door was left open, why did they go back to their spots when the day was ending, or when the night was ending?
Yeah.
Also, why would the Egyptians make such a thing?
Yeah. Well, in the words of Critical Drinker, don't know.
Yeah. This is one of those cases where sometimes it's okay to pick and pick and pick and pick. This is a case where it's like, okay, we can just shut up and enjoy the movie.
Yeah.
So I would say there isn't necessarily a huge driving plot to this thing. It's mostly an excuse to pair Ben Stiller up with a variety of crazy creatures and people and see how he interacts with them.
Yes. Yeah. Everyone from Teddy Roosevelt, who was played by Robin Williams. You also got Sacagawea there. Of course, he can never pronounce her name right.
Funny thing is, I had a teacher once who was very clear once that you would actually pronounce her name Sacagawea, but which that adds an extra layer of humor to me because everybody's being so insistent about a wrong pronunciation.
Yeah. Yeah, and then yeah. So well, and then you also had the whole Attila the Hun thing there. And then you also have uh, Owen Wilson in there because I mean, if you have a movie with Ben Stiller, you got to have Owen Wilson in there.
It's in the
Yeah.
contract, yeah. He's a
Yeah.
miniature cowboy who's in a constant fight with the miniature Romans.
Yes, and the miniature Romans led by Octavius, played by Steve Coogan, Coogan, who's been in a lot of different stuff. And yeah, it's just yeah, it's a it's a silly fun time. Although there is a there are antagonists. I don't want to spoil it too much, even though I mean this movie's 20 years old. I'm sure everybody's probably seen it.
Right, but I would put this in the category of it is worth a watch, especially if you just want something that's kind of not challenging and just kind of makes you feel happy at the end of it.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, Ben Stiller is just Ben Stiller. It is Ben Stilleriest.
Right, you either like it or you don't.
Yeah. Although I thought it was funny at the beginning of the movie when he's at the job placement, looking for, the whatever with HR or whatever, and the woman that he's interviewing with was actually played by his mother, Ann Mira.
Oh, okay.
I wonder if they like did any improvising in that scene.
Very possible.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I would say like the only member of the cast who really didn't do anything for me, but that's not unfair because he never does anything for me. I feel like Ricky Gervais, it was the first in a 1-2 punch against comedy that the UK launched against America, along with what's his name, who got a late night show.
Oh, James Corden.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like Ricky Gervais gets away with it because he created The Office, which people seem to like for some reason.
I never watched I never really watched much of his version of The Office, but I did enjoy the American version for a few years.
It just wasn't for me, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I was more of a Parks and Rec kind of guy.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But anyways, I stand by it. Ricky Gervais is just like not funny to me. And this movie, like all of his scenes just really emphasized that to me over and over again.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I could see why that would, because there was something about like the way his delivery with it was kind of like, okay, where are you going with this, man? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I would say like that's the only character who didn't at least like make me smirk a couple of times.
Mm.
The other nitpick I have in this one is that like there was like a few lines of dialogue from Robin Williams as Teddy Roosevelt that to my mind really undermined the flimsy rules we had for it, because it's like at the same time he was aware that he was a mannequin made, or not, excuse me, he was a wax figure made in Ohio, but he
Yeah.
also LARPed. He also like thought of himself as the president, but he knew he was a fraud. But nobody else seems to have this issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if he's a fraud, then Sacagawea is a fraud, and Attila the Hun is a fraud. But why is he the only one who knows thinks about that he's a fraud, or cares that he's a fraud?
Yeah. Yeah, I could see where that would be bothersome. Yeah.
It's one of those things where, of course, I never noticed it as a kid when I was watching this, but
Yeah.
or a young adult when I was watching this, but yeah, and upon further reflection, upon seeing it as an adult with a critical lens, it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Also, Teddy Roosevelt and Sacagawea ship. I was not seeing that coming.
Yeah. Yeah, historical fanfic. That's
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Yeah.
In the sequel, they ship, I believe they ship Ben Stiller with Amelia Earhart, played by what was it, Lois from the Snyderverse?
Amy Adams.
Amy Adams, thank you.
Uh-huh. Okay. There are worse actresses to ship with.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anyhow, yeah, not a whole lot to say about this one. It's funny. Some of the effects are slightly dated, but not in a egregious way. It's well animated,
Yeah.
just within like the models are within the limitations of the time.
Yeah. Although I would argue that the CGI is really not much different than some of the newer movies that have been coming out
That's
lately.
true. We have regressed a bit. Like that T-Rex skeleton moving around still looked about as good as a lot of things we get today from a motion perspective.
Yeah, yeah. Oof. Yeah, but yeah, no, I have fun with this movie. I may give the sequels a watch as well. Because they
Yep.
did 2 more of these.
I forgot they did 2 more. I know I've seen number 2. I don't remember it at all. I don't know if I ever saw number 3.
Yeah, I think the 3rd one was Robin Williams' last movie.
And with the way that threequels usually work, that probably tells me that it wasn't very good.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, we'll just have to give it a watch, I guess, someday.
Yep.
Yeah. But this is currently on Netflix.
As are the sequels.
Yes, yeah.
So, my solo thing this week, a niche that feels like it was made for me. Dinosaur Sanctuary, a manga about some people who work at a it's like a low rent dinosaur park.
Mm.
So this is kind of interesting because there's like 2 sources of dinosaurs in this one. One is that they found a population of dinosaurs at some point and on a remote island and started breeding them to bring them back. And so that's part of what the zoos are for, is dinosaur sanctuary or dinosaur recovery. But there's also a population of like genetically engineered dinosaurs where I guess they could use the starting place of one type of dinosaur to bring back another.
Mm.
But let's see here. The main character is Suma Suzume, who is a bright-eyed, perky dinosaur enthusiast who wants to use dinosaurs to bring people together or to make people understand that dinosaurs aren't just monsters and they're just realistic animals.
Mm.
And I would say that the series as a whole does a good job of playing around with this element. Because they do. So there's things like they have a Giganotosaurus, which is a dinosaur about the size of a T-Rex, and it's portrayed as being very emotionally needy with its main caretaker. You have scenes where they have a dinosaur who's overheated and has an obstruction in its throat, and they have to wrestle it to the ground, but they have to be careful with its pelvis because that type of dinosaur had hollow bones, so you couldn't put your full weight on them while still having to hold down this thing with a raptor claw.
Ooh. That would be a challenge.
Yeah. I would also say like the art is very good. There's a good sample of it right there. The human anatomy almost is worse than the dinosaur anatomy because they make a very it's clear that the mangaka here, Itaru Kinoshita, just loves dinosaurs, which of course is why you would make a series like this in the first place.
Yeah.
And from my amateur dinosaur lover perspective, they are very plausible reconstructions and very detailed. And the medical and physiological problems that they're there to help the dinosaurs deal with actually feel very plausible and well researched. It's probably like taking things that can happen to birds and extrapolating. The overall cast, there's Kaido Arata, who is kind of the jaded veteran who's showing Suzume the ropes. you find out at the end of volume 1 that he has a secret. That's because in this world, it's almost like Jurassic World, where dinosaurs have become a little bit old hat, even though people do still like them occasionally. Partially, this is because of an incident where, well, they don't really go into it in volume 1, so I won't spoil it. But it's let's just say there's always a time for a first disaster.
Wow.
And when you have a 10-ton monster, there's a non-zero chance of that happening at any given time.
Yeah.
But it's like this one doesn't have a huge driving plot, but it is very much based on it. A lot of actually, I would say one of the better parts of it is the commentary by Shinichi Fujiwara, who is a Japanese paleontologist who was contacted to be the research person to help out with the series. So, and I don't really have a picture of this to show, but he concluded that if a Triceratops were to sit down, because of how their front legs were positioned, it would kind of make a Triceratops loaf similar to a cat. Which is used to adorable effect. So yeah, it's just a lot of fun with it's like a Amagi Brilliant Parkway, in that it's about a down on its luck amusement facility and them trying to revive it a bit, along with some interpersonal drama, as people like have very strong opinions about these dinosaurs. Like there's a doctor who has no use for Suzume because she's just happy and bubbly, and from his perspective, her incompetence could have killed one of his dinosaurs because she didn't notice a problem that was emerging. And just like a wide variety of personalities and perspectives. And the fun of the series is going to be how long can they keep coming up with new dinosaurs and new problems to solve with the dinosaurs.
Yeah, I could see that being a challenge. Have especially like 4 or 5 volumes of the manga in,
right? It could very easily run out of steam, but as a starting place, it's actually pretty fun. So I would say you have to be at least a little bit interested in dinosaurs to find this enjoyable, but it is exactly what it says on the tin.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool.
Speaking of ancient creatures in an environment they weren't meant for.
Yeah.
Sean Connery and Thunderball.
Yes.
Now, I kind of repeated myself with the transition I made for Prehistoric Planet's Ice Age season, but it's, you know what? If it worked once, keep doing it.
Yes, indeed. Yes. So yeah, our final review of the night, Thunderball, which is the 4th James Bond film and the 4th in the Sean Connery line of films. After Goldfinger and right before You Only Live Twice, which I will say I probably prefer that movie over this one.
That's the one where he fakes his death and pretends to be Japanese, right?
Yes.
I've seen Goldfinger. I have seen You Only Live Twice. I've never seen this one.
I hadn't seen this one either. Yeah. And I've heard mixed things about it. And having seen it, I can kind of understand why. So this movie picks up, I think probably not long after Goldfinger, where you have the villainous organization Spectre, which I'm gonna have to look, try to remember what that was an anagram for.
While you do that, I thought that one of the funniest things about it was, given what's been in the news lately, Spectre is working out of Paris, and their front is like a organization that's designed to help refugees get relocated or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, man, an NGO that's related to refugees and migrants being accused of shady things. Was
Yeah.
this written last week?
Yeah. Okay, so Spectre stands for Special Executive for Counterintelligence, Terrorism, Revenge, and Extortion. And
Wonder
and
how
they're
long
led.
it took them to think of that one.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Probably quite a while. And they're led by, of course, Ernst Stavro Blofeld. Of course, of course, we don't see Blofeld in this movie. You only see like his hands, and then the white cat. And of course, he does the scene from like on Austin Powers. Why must I be surrounded by freaking idiots?
As I was watching this movie after seeing Austin Powers recently for the show,
Yeah,
I just kept thinking, oh, this is the exact James Bond movie they were parodying.
yeah, yeah, definitely, yeah, especially the plot of the movie. Yeah, so the movie's main villain, whose name is called Largo, but he's the number 2 inspector. His name number 2.
Yeah, the similarities just keep stacking up, don't they?
Yeah, right down to the eye patch. And so Spectre hatches this plot to steal these 2 atomic bombs and hold the world for ransom. And they have what was it? 3 days to pay the ransom off.
Right before they just blow up 2 cities for the fun of it.
Yes. And so, of course, one of the agents dispatched to find the bombs is none other than James Bond, and his lead is down in the Bahamas, in Nassau, because he wants to find the sister of the pilot who was flying the plane that stole the bombs, but in reality it wasn't him. It was another guy who got plastic surgery to make himself look like the pilot. And so Bond, of course, being Bond, he saddles up to her. Of course, she's the girlfriend of Largo and all that.
What's really funny is that the way it's presented, it almost looks like Bond just decided to pursue this lead because he saw a picture of her and thought she was hot. Like,
Yeah.
like it's not even so much that he had a hunch as
Well, she was played by let's see, the actress's name was Claudine Auger, and I believe she was Miss France.
I would believe
at the time. Yeah.
So to take a step back, outside of the main plot, I would say that this movie is like peak James Bond in a number of ways. So the Bond babes are top tier, and I'm not even just talking from like a looks perspective, but like they each perform their roles perfectly.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. So you've got Fiona, played by Luciana Paluzzi, who
Yes.
is working with Largo. And she is an amazing femme fatale character.
Oh yeah.
Like she feels dangerous without switching over to girl bossery.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Funny how writers back in the 1960s were able to have that balance, unlike today.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
Yeah. And, Arco says, of course they made Thunderball twice, had to complete the set. Yes, yeah. So there was another movie that was basically Thunderball. It was called Never Say Never Again, which brought Sean Connery back to play James Bond. Although technically it's not a James Bond, it's not canonically a James Bond movie, but that's another story for another time.
Right. It was not made by Eon. It was the Broccolis were not involved in it.
Right. Yeah. But to get back to this movie, yeah, the Bond girls are great in this movie.
Both the goodies and the baddies.
Yes.
I will say there was one scene that was a bit uncomfortable where James is recovering from an injury he suffered in his opening sequence,
Yeah.
or where
yeah.
he. It's hard not to have it look like he forced himself upon her.
Yeah. Yeah. That scene made me uncomfortable too. Yeah.
Because it's one of those things where if we had gotten an indication that she was into him at all, like if she'd been flirting back or anything, but no, she was just being totally professional and acting like she just wanted him to stop, and he did not.
Yeah. Yeah. Which, kind of plays into a lot of the criticisms that some people have about James Bond as a character, which
Yeah.
kind of led to a lot of what they did with the Daniel Craig movies.
So thanks a lot, Thunderball.
Yeah.
Actually, it feels like the pop culture consensus on James Bond is basically just this movie.
Yeah, which is unfortunate.
Right, because there are better Bond movies that could have been the how to put it, the ideal Bond movie in people's minds. It's like outside. That's your other. Yeah, you have Molly Peters as Patricia, who I believe is the put upon nurse.
Yeah.
Then you have Martine Beswick as Paula, who is the final Bond girl and the sister of the real Largo, or the person that Largo is pretending to be.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And I would say that everybody does their role very nicely.
Yeah.
Like that relationship actually felt like it was not just James deciding that no means yes.
Yeah.
Now, the big selling feature of this movie was, at the time, state-of-the-art underwater action scenes.
And there are a lot of those.
Yeah. I think my overall review of this thing is going to mirror the infamous Pokemon Emerald remake review from IGN, 7.8 out of 10, too much water. Because all the action scenes that take place outside of the ocean are just great.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. Yeah. I mean, you even got a scene where Bond's flying on a jetpack.
Yeah. After punching out a man who was cross-dressing as his wife to avoid detection after faking his death.
Yeah.
The literal, that's you're a man, baby.
That's a man, baby.
And that's where he just kept thinking the whole movie. This is like, aside from the end of Never, or you only live twice.
Yeah.
Being in the middle of a freaking lava or freaking volcano.
Yeah.
Like there is so much of this movie in Austin Powers.
Oh yeah. 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 I mean, yeah. Overall, like you said, like the action sequences outside of the water were great. I will say the final underwater battle I thought was too chaotic, and it was kind of hard to keep track of who was who.
Very much so, yes.
Yeah. Because the entire time I'm sitting there looking for Bond, I'm like, okay, where is he?
I don't even think Bond was around for most of that fight.
Yeah, he popped up every now and then.
Because for those who haven't seen the movie, for that scene, it's basically all of the Spectre agents versus all of the good guy agents in an underwater brawl with spear guns and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was very expensive and difficult to shoot. I would say that the better underwater scenes were the ones where James was having to avoid some sharks, or just like him investigating the plane crash where they'd had the nuke stolen from.
Yeah.
Or him having to sneak around. Like all of those were very well done and entertaining. But also, this is a bit on the long side.
Yeah, it's over 2 hours, isn't it?
I want to say it was almost 3.
No, 2 hours and 10 minutes.
It felt like 3.
It felt like 3. Well, not nearly as bad as the last Craig movie.
You know what? I will just take people's word on that because I don't feel like subjecting myself to it.
Oh no, yeah, you're not missing anything. But yeah,
Yeah, like I kind of feel like the Craig movies were like an apology for being Bond.
in a way they are. Yeah,
Or it's just like, oh well, we can't have anything lighthearted or fun anymore. It's the 2000s. 9/11 happened. We have to just be grim-faced and ripping off the Bourne identity.
yeah, yeah. Bond has to be serious all the time.
And he has to be, yeah, it has to be sad in a way that, as far as I remember from what I read of the Ian Fleming novels and seen of the classic movies, yeah, no, Bond is very good at getting over dead women in his life.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. He yes, he gets over it very quickly.
Not to put too fine a point on it.
Yeah.
Dude is like, he may actually be a legitimate misogynist instead of that just being an accusation people throw at him.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, this movie.
But outside of DB going woke here.
Oh yes, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's a decent enough Bond movie. Although probably one of the weaker ones in the Connery lineup. Although I never saw Diamonds Are Forever.
I feel like I might have, but it left no impression on me. Like
Yeah.
I definitely, I think Goldfinger is definitely the best of them. At least like that's
Oh,
the
yeah.
one that 25 odd years later, I can still remember a lot of the plot beats. Like the native idea of stealing a nuke and and making the all the gold at Fort Knox unusable is very ingenious.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course it has the iconic, laser scene. Like, you expect me to
Yes.
talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Right. Yeah. Largo is no Goldfinger.
No, he's not.
He
Yeah.
does have his moments of sheer villainy, but
Yeah, he's kind of I hate to say, a pretty generic Bond villain. Yeah.
extremely so.
Yeah. But this movie, and I think most of the Bond movies, if not all of the Bond movies, are currently on Netflix. So
Which is interesting because most of them are MGM, right?
yeah,
And that's now owned by Jeff Bezos or actually it's owned specifically by Amazon.
Amazon. Yeah.
So I guess somebody over at Amazon MGM said, forget about market share, we need cash.
Yeah. Yeah. Nobody's going to turn down money.
Nope.
Yeah, but
Yeah, like I would say this is marginally worth a watch. If you haven't seen Goldfinger yet, go watch that first.
yes.
You will have a better and happier time.
Oh yeah.
Once you've knocked out a couple of the higher end movies, give this one a go. Also, I want to say the title of this, I had always assumed that Thunderball was like a secret weapon or something.
Yeah.
But then you listen to I'd listened to the theme song done by the late great Tom Jones before, and it sounds like, wait, is Thunderball a dude? What? It's like he takes what he wants, like Thunderball. It's like that doesn't mean anything to me. And after watching it, it's the name of the operation to try to find these bombs.
Yeah.
And now I wonder if the same creative minds that gave us the name Octopussy were responsible for Thunderball being about trying to find two explosive things. Like Tom Jones gives it his all in that song. It's a great song from like a singing technical perspective, but it doesn't make a lick of sense.
No, it doesn't. Yeah.
It is the second most disappointing Bond theme I've ever heard. The first most disappointing theme, of course, being Skyfall, where I was ready for it to be like, oh, is Skyfall the name of like a space laser or something? No, it was the name of his family estate.
Yeah. Well, at least GoldenEye was the name of the satellite that shoots an EMP.
Exactly. Like it's
yeah. Well, I think we've said all we need to say for tonight.
Indeedy.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it as always. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, ring the bell, buy some books. Links are in the description, and we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Good night.